Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. After I completed the first 3 episodes exposing the New York Times, the Epoch Times published an exclusive report. It says that the CCP has recently increased its attacks on Falun Gong and Shen in America because they fear that after Trump takes office, if the U.S. officially starts investigating the torture and organ harvesting of Falun Gong practitioners in China, it would mean the end for the CCP. So the CCP tries to push for Falun Gong to be convicted in the U.S. in order to escape accountability for its human rights violations. After reading this article, I said, unusual events often signify hidden intentions. Indeed, the New York Times' recent aggressive actions stem from the CCP's deep-seated fear. The CCP dreads the possibility of Trump joining forces with Falun Gong to hold the CCP accountable for its crimes of organ harvesting. This is the desperate struggle of a regime nearing its end. The New York Times choosing to jump aboard this sinking ship not only raises questions about its intelligence, but also reflects the inevitable outcome of its loss of integrity and professional ethics. The CCP's attempts to eradicate Falun Gong in the United States are not only doomed to fail, but will also accelerate its own demise. Now, let's go back and share some more secrets about Falun Gong and Shen Yun. So far, most of the time we have been exposing the persecution of Falun Gong and resisting the persecution. We rarely talk about the sacrifices made by countless practitioners during this process. For us, it feels natural and not something we often feel should be highlighted. But if we truly share some of the things these practitioners have done, it would not be an exaggeration to describe them as deeply moving and extraordinary. For example, to ensure that the radio waves from Sound of Hope run by Falun Gong practitioners could reach mainland China, volunteers have placed shortwave signal transmitters like this in the remote wilderness near the Chinese border, even inside China's northwest region. To avoid detection, these devices are placed where no one lives. Due to harsh weather, they need frequent maintenance and part replacements, so someone must stay there. But in such places, there's no water, no electricity, no housing. Living there means living a primitive life. There's one couple in China who gave up their city jobs to live in these primitive conditions, guarding the transmitters around the clock. They dig a pit in the ground, put in wood for fire, set up some iron rods to hang up a pot for cooking, and sleep in a tent, listening to the howling wind and the wolves nearby, with no guarantee of safety. In this barren, desolate place with no flowers or trees, no social life, just sand, this couple preserved for years, even raising a child there. There are also 2 young people from the northern mountains of Vietnam who were caught and sentenced to 3 years in prison for setting up such devices. One of them lost his company with over 100 employees and all his wealth. But thanks to the dedication of countless people like them, Sound of Hope's broadcasts to China have better coverage and clarity than most government-funded stations, delivering the truth clearly and continuously behind the Iron Curtain. And for instance, when New Tang Dynasty TV was just starting, almost everyone worked in their spare time, rushing to the station after work, working until late at night, sometimes working there overnight, and then directly heading to work the next day. Even now, in many places, promoting Shen involves not only advertising but also going door to door and hanging beautiful printed Shen booklets on people's doorknobs. This method saves money but requires a lot of manpower. In cities with few Falun Gong practitioners, help is requested from other areas, with local practitioners providing accommodation and transport, all working together to distribute the booklets. For example, a car might take 4 or 5 people to an area, each with a printed map showing who goes where. They walk house to house, and each covers a certain section within the map. After a day of this, some can come back with blisters on their feet. This is a very tiring job. I've personally distributed flyers in the upscale areas of upstate New York, where houses are on hillsides far apart. It's a climbing up and down to hand a brochure, then a long walk to the next house, another climb, and so on. When we had no money for advertising, we rely on our own 2 legs to distribute flyers door to door to promote Shen. These behind-the-scenes details are unknown to the New York Times. Today, I'm sharing them. Will the New York Times write another article next time saying another secret to Shen success is free labor to distribute flyers, where they seek justice for those who participate in this? So I say what the New York Times does is shameless and meaningless to the public. They ignore so many serious evils in the world to focus on a group of people who, with their own flesh and blood, resist the CCP's persecution, dedicating themselves with sincere faith, yet having no dark secrets. Perhaps many don't know, but the reason Falun Gong has withstood the CCP's persecution for so many years without being crushed is simply because Falun Gong speaks the truth. Practitioners live by the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. Others might lie or deceive, but they won't. Otherwise, when arrested, they could simply say, I won't practice anymore to avoid torture. But even when tortured to death, they refuse to say they won't practice because they still want to practice, and saying otherwise would be lying, betraying their faith, which they won't do. Sadly, there are so many bad people and bad deeds in the world today that when you hear about someone being banned, it's immediately believed. But if you say there are people not chasing money or fame, just wanting to do something meaningful, you might talk until you are blue in the face, and people still won't believe you. Otherwise, I wouldn't need to say so much today. As practitioners who have given up worldly pursuits, do we care what others say about us? Not at all, because we believe that truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance are the only standards to judge good from bad. After all these years practicing Falun Gong, do we need the New York Times to tell us what secrets Falun Gong has? But out of a commitment to truth, we must expose the lies of the New York Times and prevent their falsehoods from poisoning the public. That's why I spent so much time explaining everything. I was commented when sharing a special report from the Epoch Times about Mr. Li Hongzhi's work and life. Quote, people with minds full of machines and luxury cars think everyone else is like them, but noble people, though few, are not extinct. These people are the hope of the world. Unquote. Lastly, I'd like to quote a few lines from Li Hongzhi's speech in Toronto, Canada on May 23rd, 1999. Although the persecution had not yet officially begun, Falun Gong had already garnered significant attention following the gathering of over 10,000 Falun Gong practitioners outside the CCP's headquarters in Zhongnanhai, Beijing, on April 25th of that year. On that day, when Falun Gong practitioners in Canada held an experience sharing conference where there were some reporters present and possibly even CCP spies among the audience, Mr. Li said, quote, when I, Li Hongzhi, undertook this, I only did so after giving careful thought to being responsible to humankind and to society at large. If I had let down society and the people, I never would have done this, and there would have never been so many people learning the Fa. The Fa here means Falun Dafa. The facts show that I haven't brought trouble to society. On the contrary, the crookedness of many crooked things was exposed before me and Dafa. So they came at me and Dafa. That's not my fault. I ask people to do good things. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Nor is it wrong that I ask people to improve. Precisely because what the students and I have done is so righteous, all those who are crooked or not that righteous have felt off balance. Yes, I have said that it's hard to ask someone to be a good person. It isn't about making superficial changes. A person won't change himself unless his heart has truly been touched. And upon that, the changes he goes through can never be shattered by any force. I have also said that human beings have Buddha nature. Regardless of how badly human society has declined, people still have kind hearts. And that's why I have been doing this. The facts have proved that I'm achieving the results I wished for. I have seen that Dafa disciples have able to be diligent in Dafa and constantly raise their levels. That is most gratifying for me. As to how society looks at us, I think that as long as Dafa and I take a righteous path and my students do the right thing, no matter how many biased opinions there are out there, they will come around. All those who don't understand us and those who attack us have the same comment. You have done that well. It's not possible. That is to say, they don't believe that there are still good people in this world. Well, then let's show them with our actions. I think the main reason that those who don't know the truth oppose us is that they don't really understand us. So we can help them to understand us and come to know us. Using any method is fine. Whether it's through a common channel or not, let's keep the door wide open and let them know whatever they want to know and say whatever they want to see. If you want to find something out, as long as you don't intend to make trouble for us, you can do as you please. If there were indeed problems, then we wouldn't have the Pure Land that we do. I dare have all of you do this. I dare to let you do this because we have achieved it. We truly have a Pure Land here. Our practice isn't religious in form, let alone cultish. My students merely do cultivation. Those who can't achieve consummation will still manage to be good members of society. With so many of these people affecting society, they will benefit the world no matter what country they are in. Dafa can firmly stabilize a society and turn people's hearts toward goodness. So I think that Dafa will be welcomed in any country. Of course, there will be a lot more people who learn Dafa, and they are sure to positively impact society. They will form a tremendous field and form a large group of people. They will bring about the restoration of morality as a whole. Many reporters and others are puzzled, wondering why are there so many people studying this far? The people sitting here today may have seen the answer. And what is it? Here we ask people to walk a righteous path and to be truly good persons. There's nothing filthy or dirty involved, like out in society. We will purify anything not righteous and become right up until we meet the standard for consummation. People who benefit others and society. We don't care. We don't charge fees. We don't need you to do bad things, and we aren't involved in politics. That is why there are so many people learning. Those who don't believe that there are still good people around have underestimated us. I don't want to promote myself, so I try not to meet with the press. For those who don't understand and who want to schedule interviews, we have many students and they will explain it to you. If you don't understand our Fa and want to ask me what Falun Gong is about, I won't see you even if you insist on it. You should read my book first and try to understand this group of people. I'll see you after that. You all know that it can't be explained clearly in a few words, for Dafa is no ordinary thing. Thus, reporters who don't understand us have quoted my words out of context, and they made comments on the basis of their own notions and imaginations. I don't want to see that happen again. My students are all trying to be good people, yet they were labeled evil. That is so unfair, and it hurt their feelings. Those news reporters went too far astray. Here I don't want to say much about it. I hope that all of my Dafa disciples will stay diligent and achieve consummation as quickly as possible." Unquote. Well, I will end my series on exposing the New York Times with Mr. Lee's words. With only 6 episodes compared to the numerous attacks by the New York Times, I've done my best. Please like, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, my X account, or visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com. That's jenniferzengblog.com to sign up for a membership or make a donation. Your support is vital to enable me to continue sharing the inconvenient truths. Thank you. Have a nice weekend and see you.